Hey everybody, time for the shop update here at Woodsmith, and we have quite a few things going on and a viewer request which we'll get to at the end of our tour here. We're going to kick things off. We're in the finishing room with Marc and a chair update.
Hi everyone, progress on the Dylan Design dining chairs. So these are chairs that go with the dining table that I built last year, which is
Not
a big,
that one.
No, not that one. A big round cherry one with a white oak base. So these are the chairs that match. Let me just show you the picture of how they're going to look. So let's start with, if you checked in the past, I was going over the process involved with doing the legs and the stretchers and the backrest. As you can see, there's lots of foot angles, proper Dylan style design, and some tapers, some curves, some dishing out. So especially this backrest pretty much has got it all. So this was a fun one to do, quite challenging. So Dylan was keeping me on my toes with this one, which is all good. So this, what I've been working on this morning, is the process of ebonizing. So how we go about ebonizing is we start with a tannin. So this is a product that's derived from, I think Logan said, in the making process of wine. So this tannin is a byproduct of the making process of that. So we mix this, it's just a brown powder, and you could also use tea or the product from the brewing process from beer. So this is a brown powder that you mix with water, and then you apply on the actual on the wood, let that dry, give it a bit of a sand, and then after that you would use this guy, which is steel wool that's soaked in distilled vinegar. And this has been soaking since the last project I did, which was the dining table, which was, I'm not sure when that was, maybe last year, the year before that. Anyway, this has been sat for a while, so I'll strain this out, so I've got a nice liquid without all the remnants of the steel wool, and then I'll brush it on. So this is what it looks like after I brush it on. It looks kind of like blue, so we're obviously going to go for the black look. So by the time we've sprayed lacquer on it, that will turn jet black, and it's a pretty cool looking feature for this chair. So that's the base. Just waiting for this to dry up a little bit. I might give it another coat of this the wire wool mixture. But in the meantime, I've been working on the actual seat pan itself. Back to this, which is this guy. So if we come back in here, and I made an absolute mess and turned our shop into a pop-up beach. So here's my first attempt. So spin around, Becky. I'm going here and everywhere in this project. So this is a seat pan. So I have the dimensions just drawn out on the piece. To achieve that look, I've been having at it with the grinder, with this dishing out abrasive wheel. So as you see, it makes quite the mess. So got that one done, working on this one, the process of this one, almost done with that one. So once you've rough cut and wasted most of the material out, you can come back with a sander. I recently purchased this small 3-inch sander, which is perfect for this kind of job because I'm getting close to the corners. So this works out perfect. So once that's all said and done, I'm going to give this a coat of lacquer, and then it's going to get screwed to the base of the legs on the chair. So that's where I'm at. So next week they will be done. Thanks for checking in.
Hey everyone. Well, here's the Macintosh piece. If you remember last week, I had the sides all glued up, and I can't remember if I had the dados cut or not, but anyway, I got it together, got the top on, all the horizontals in, the trims on, got the square hole cut into this hard oak. Got the dividers made. I'm leaving the back. I'm going to go ahead and stain everything before I put these in and lacquer everything. We're going to use Varathane dark walnut wood stain for this. I might get to that tomorrow or Monday. Right now I'm working on the upper door. This will be the upper door, which you have to put these little dental pieces in, then you have to fill the grooves. So there's a lot of work here. And then the bottom door, even more, it's got a 1/4 inch panel that I gotta cut all these square holes into. So I think I'm gonna cut these into strips like this so I can use a dado blade to cut these holes and then glue the assembly up. So, and then just mortise and tenon joinery, and then I gotta fit all the hinges. And I'm not even sure what we're using for catches, but that's it.
Hello everyone. Well, I'm not sure I can compete with Marc's mess or Steve's project, but we'll go into the CNC room and talk a little bit about that. And of course the mascot, the Woodsmith mascot. Okay, so I want to give you a little update on the ShopNotes CNC machine project because the next installment is due out pretty soon here in ShopNotes Magazine, where we're going to be dealing with the gantry and this whole area with the router. One thing that I've been working on, just kind of tidy up a few details, has been dust collection. Because one thing these CNC machines can do is throw dust everywhere. And so before long, you know, you gotta do something about the dust. So there are two types of dust boots that are commonly used with CNC machines. Let's take a look at one here. This is the Inventables machine we have. And this is a separate adjustable boot, and it's independent of the travel of the spindle. And that's kind of nice because you can always set your dust boot so it's just skimming on top of your project. Downside is there's a lot of area here. And this is set up with an 1.5 inch hose for a standard vacuum cleaner. And it doesn't have quite the draw that you'd like. It does a good job, but not a great job because of all that area. So one way to avoid that and to keep things simpler, keep the mechanics easier, is to simply have a dust boot which attaches directly to your router mount. And it's going to go up and down with the router. Couple disadvantages to that though. As the router travels up and down, it's going to be squashing the bristles. So you sort of have to begin your route with the bristles a little bit above, and you'll finish with them pressed down a little bit. This is a 2-inch bristle. There are other bristle lengths. This is a piece of 3-inch. And so I'm going to make another dust boot with a 3-inch for when I do thicker work, because that has a little more give to it. One of the issues we have with this sort of setup is that when we come to the edge of a board, your vacuum cleaner goes here, we actually break the seal. And so I never get as good a pickup along the front edge of my work as I do towards the interior when the bristles are fully touching the workpiece. This is also using a 1.5 inch vacuum cleaner hose, so it's a little bit small. It does a good job. I think what I would like to do is to work with the dust collection a little bit and see about using a dust collector. Now remember, a vacuum cleaner is a high velocity, low volume draw, but a dust collector is the opposite. It's high volume, but it's a slow removing speed of air. The hose is going to be larger, quite a bit larger, about 2.5 to 3 inches. So that problem of losing this section on the edge becomes a little more of an issue. What I'm going to do with that and with using a vacuum cleaner is I want to take a look at creating a captured channel from where the hose attaches to around the router. And if I can use a channel I can then have this bristle ring be a perfect circle around the router only, because the air will be sucking through a dedicated channel, and that will solve our problem with losing suction. This is actually pretty easy to attach. I've got the machine set up right now with just a little test here, so let me go ahead and raise it. I've got it zeroed out at the moment. One advantage of having a little bit of Z travel is that it's pretty easy for us to come underneath and attach the boot. The boot registers on this back edge against this board, and then I have rare earth magnets. Also, this cutout is just a wee bit larger than the router itself. And so if we strike something, there's plenty of, between the magnets and the various points that it touches, it's really pretty secure. The hose just fits into that hole. Now, one thing I've found over the years is that, I don't have it set up here, but a lot of machines may have an arm which supports the vacuum hose. What works just as well is to take a string or a little piece of rope and tie it off to the ceiling somewhere and just have it support the hose about yay high. That works really well. And that way you're not really committed to a big arm, which can be a bit of a problem. I find just moving a string works pretty well. So I've had a chance to use the machine a little bit. It works just fine. What I have set up right now is a side and one part from an upcoming Woodsmith project, a cat castle. I've got the machine pretty much ready to go. Now with this machine, let me take this off here so you can see. With this machine, it is necessary to manually zero it out. And you always have to manually zero the X and Y axis out. But with this one, I need to put an X and I need to drop the machine down to where the bit is just touching. And then using our controlling program, I can go ahead and strike in to zero out the X, Y, and Z axes. Any CNC machine, you're going to have a program in which you design your project in and one which you actually run the machine with. So I've created a little project file. You're going to bear with my computer screen. I had a little speaker at home above my desk and it fell and struck the screen. So it's a little, not so good right now. My machine needs a trip to California to be repaired. As you can see here, this is a side. Here's our workpiece, about 2 feet. And this is just a side to a little cat castle project, which you'll see in Woodsmith, and a little piece of battlement. So I've set it up for a 1/2-inch thickness, and I've set it up for a 1/4-inch bit. There are a couple tabs which will keep the parts joined together as it cuts through, and that's what's currently in the machine. This is, bear with me with my computer here. Screen back out. All right. So this is actually the G code, which you see here. It starts the G code. There's quite a few thousands of lines of it, and that's telling our machine where to go. And then we have some basic controls. We have a start, a hold, a stop, and frankly, too much information that anyone really needs. Mach 3 is a great program, but it's a little bit busy. There are a few basic things. I mentioned, there's a go to zero setting. There's, when I press on the X, the Y, or the Z, that zeroes them out. Here's my value readouts for the X, Y, and Z axes. Right now I have a tab open here which allows me to move the machine. So as an example, I'm going to press on Z and raise the router. If I want to press on X plus, it'll push the gantry away from us. And of course, if I want to go Y plus, I'll move it to our left. And if I just want to go back to 0, I'll press on that, go to 0, and put it back to our 0, 0, 0 point. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go ahead and raise the router. Put our nice collection boot on. Put the vacuum in place. And just for the fun of it, I'll go ahead and start the vacuum. We'll start the router and we'll let it begin to run. And after about 5 seconds, Becky's going to have all the noise she can take and it's going to run out of here. But that'll be a good way for us to end our segment.
That's it for the shop update, and you can see if you have any questions or comments or things that you want to see, you can just let us know in the comments section below, and we'll do what we can within reason. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.